الوفاء بشتى الصور أحب الوفاء.
Education is a key to unlocking opportunities. However, a dangerous shadow lurks amid the excitement of a new academic year as a result of bogus colleges, fake diplomas and Umalusi certificate scams. We have online with us forensic investigator Mr. Calvin Rafadi. Mr. Rafadi, good morning to you. Thank you for joining me in the program this morning.
Good morning and good morning to your listeners.
Can you provide us with an overview of the prevalence and impact of fake certificates, bogus institutions in South Africa?
Yeah, first of all, let's congratulate the classes of 2023 matriculants. They did a great job indeed. And, there are many institutions or the so-called colleges institutions which are bogus, so known as fly-by-night. So they issue out certificates which they tend to be fake, or they lure the people thinking that their business is legit, and then they provide them with good qualification, but only to find out at a later stage when maybe perhaps you're applying for a job or you want to further your study in other institution, and only to find out that you receive a fake qualification. But there are those that want to take a shortcut into wanting to buy some of the matric certificates, and they go online, and then the scammers, they forge logos of Umalusi and provide for sale this particular certificate, which are fraudulent.
Now, we have colleges that are in the process of being registered. We have colleges that, that are also not registered, but who are operating, and they're operating openly. Are there no institution, or is there no regulating body that can oversee this? I mean, if I'm driving past and I see an advert for a college, is there no regulating body to check whether this college is legitimate or not?
Yeah, look, Department of Higher Education, they've got a unit that goes and verifies some of these schools only when they are alerted, but randomly, normally, they go around checking these particular schools and colleges, and to a point that they also receive some tip-offs like pamphlets and even adverts that lure some of these people, of our people online. But most of these colleges, what they tend to, some of them to do is, you'll find that they are recognized and accredited for a particular qualification or a subject, but the others, they keep advertising them thinking that they will be accredited, but in essence, they are not. So some of them, they operate like that, and then some is just pure scam, whereby they pretend that they are recognized and registered and lure people that to believe that they are registered. But most of them, their modus operandi, because they know that we can go online and verify with the link to check if they are qualified with the higher education. Only they send you a link that can even fool you that once you click on that link that they are registered. So that's why most of the time we even urge our listeners to click on .org.za, the domain only of higher education, or even call their toll-free number, the 0800 872 222. But at the same time, the school can be recognized with higher education, but you'll find the qualification it's not. So simultaneously, one also needs to verify with SAQA, which is your South African Qualification Authority, to check if also that qualification that they are about to take is also recognized.
So what are some common schemes or tactics used by individuals and institutions involved in creating and distributing fake certificates?
Yeah, mostly they are on social media. Like if you click matric certificate for sale, you find them advertising there, and they sell these certificates from as little as 1,500 to 5,000. But I guess most of our people, sometimes they become so under pressure wanting to have this matric certificate, because in most of the credentials, when you're looking for a job, they require you to having a matric certificate, at least as an entry. So people are so desperate, they go online and buy this particular certificate. Some of these institutions and colleges, they go online, advertise, or you find them around in town or by the street robots giving out pamphlets. And people tend to believe that the school does exist. Some they even go to see the building itself, and the building does exist because it's rented out for that particular time, especially around this time of the season, and only to collect the deposits, the registration fee, But at the end of the day, you might find the college towards the end of the year it closes up.
Hmm. And how have these schemes evolved over time? I mean, they, for a while we now been hearing and seeing of these fake colleges, fake certificates, etc. And how have they been evolving?
Yeah, look, like we say that the crime becomes very rife around this time. By the way, also in the same breath, including accommodation, because there are those that simultaneously advertise these institutions and accommodation to lure our students into believing that these colleges are legit. But around this time, it is when now one needs to be very vigilant and verify with the Department of Higher Education and Training that the school is accredited. Simultaneously, check the qualification with SAQA, because also when it comes to also online long distance learning institutions like your international, you find them also advertising now. Also international qualification. One needs to be very careful to also verify with SAQA. If SAQA does recognize and accredit the qualification that also it's an online, but it's an overseas or international qualification. Because also there is another space where they also take opportunities to scam our people.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did mention accommodation, and I know in the past, just a few years ago, this was a huge problem, because I recall there was a busload of students who came from out of town to a particular residence that was allocated by a particular college, just to find that block of those apartments were just private residences. Nobody knows of any accommodation, anything, and this entire busload of students were actually stranded, and then they needed to be moved to police stations, and then where they were taken care of, and it became a huge issue. But I'm sure you can share some advice with parents on how to verify these type of situations before sort of actually getting involved with them.
Yeah, normally with student accommodation, we advise that people mustn't just click online and check the accommodation and believe to be paying the deposit. What they need to do inspection in logo. They need to physically first, before they pay money, go and check the accommodation. Once they check, they can also verify with the caretaker of that place or the securities. Then they can tell you that, oh no, Calvin, indeed, he does own this apartment, or indeed he does accommodate students. But if you haven't done that, do not pay any money online, because you'll pay the deposit, and by the time you arrive there, the the accommodation doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So do your inspection in local. Physically go, even though the pictures online can look very deceiving, but physically go and verify the school before you can make any payment.
And what challenges do law enforcement agencies face in tackling the issue of fake certificates?
Yeah, no, it's a big challenge. That's why they need, to be accompanied by Umalusi, because Umalusi are the only one. They've got a system and an infrared light that they can use to verify any certificate if it's issued by them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are not pulling in one string, you'll find the police, they are rating these schools. And then by the time they are provided with certain documents, they believe that they are legit. So only Umalusi and higher education are the ones who can quantify on the crime that is ongoing and the certificates that are there. So it becomes a challenge.
So, Mr. Rafati, can you share some advice to our listeners? This is the time of the year. Many of them have already registered. Many are still trying to get places at different colleges, etc. What advice can you offer to them?
Yeah, the advice that we can give to them is that once they become aware that the school is not accredited or not properly registered, it's a scam, they need to go to the nearest police station, even equally call the Department of Higher Education and Training to alert them on their anti-corruption line about the particular school. That will not only save yourself, but also you save the other students not to fall victim into this particular scam.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Rafidi, thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, but we will talk to you again, and just hope that this problem can be addressed. Enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend. All the best to you, sir.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you. We spoke to Calvin Rafadi, a forensic investigator and he spoke to us about fake certificates, bogus institutions, bogus accommodation. Yes, we need to make sure and ensure that before we part with a single cent and before we even register, that we verify the authenticity of these institutions. We, even if it comes to accommodation, we verify the existence of these, a place of residence, etc.